Welcome to the Truth Ministries podcast with host Bishop Isaach Hamner and Jay Will. This podcast is for informational purposes and should not be considered a legal, tax, or medical advice of any kind. We are not responsible for any property damages or loss from the use of this podcast. For more information, email Bishop Hamner at truthministries30@gmail.com or email Will at leewillj at gmail.com. Now, here's your host, Bishop Hamner and Jay Will.
People, what's going on? This is your boy, Jay Will. I'm here with the most honorable Bishop Isaach Hamner. How are you, sir?
I am well. God bless you. I appreciate you sharing your time again in this platform, Pastor Will. I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, man. You know, I love talking to you. We always have great conversations. You know, tonight we have a whole bunch of stuff we're going to dive into. But first, I'm going to tell you, if you love coffee, go to strongcoffeecompany.com. And if you use the promo code JWillPodcast, you'll receive a 20% discount on all your purchases. And they have protein coffee, they have decaf coffee, whatever kind of coffee you like. Go ahead and go to strongcoffeecompany.com. So, Bishop, you know, it's definitely still cold outside.
Oh,
and,
polar bear weather.
Yeah, I think in the morning it's supposed to be a little bit colder, but, you know, we'll make it do what it do.
But the Lord did bless me with a hot tub. I want everybody to know that the bishop is covered.
All right. Make sure you oil your skin before you get in there. It's going to suck all the
yeah. No, life is different with a hot tub. Once you get in and your body temperature rises, it's all good.
Yes, sir. So I think I want to dive right into this. I know we've heard a lot over the past couple of months about the massive fraud schemes that have happened in Minnesota involving the Somali educational systems. And so I read this article that was written by CBS News on January 5th. And it says, as national attention focuses on the growing fraud scandal in Minnesota, what federal prosecutors estimate could top $9 billion in the state's Democratic governor's and so the state's Democratic governor, Tim Walz, as a result of this, has announced he is dropping his re-election campaign. Mm-hmm. Man, it's got to be some serious stuff going on there for the gov to say he ain't running anymore.
I agree. There definitely has to be, where there's smoke, oftentimes there's fire, or where there is kindling, there is smoke. Either way, this has the potential to burn down any legacy that he was trying to establish as a reasonable governing force for Minnesota and their legislator. And I still don't understand millions of dollars, let alone billions of dollars of fraud. I mean, they're sending a lot of invoices, and how that many invoices for that amount of money, especially, you know, if it's anything accurate, around $9 billion, I don't know that the Somalian continent has those type of resources. So how a community could spend more than the value of the land mass itself, where the people come from, it's just mind blowing. I don't know how you let that go in any oversight scenario, but we definitely got to dig into it.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate that people have to scam in the first place. But how do you have people in position that's supposed to be the experts on running the state when something like this happens in your state? On this bigger proportion, though, we're not talking about $900,000. We're talking about $9 billion.
And we're not talking about $9 billion over 350 million people. We're not talking 9 billion. That's the population of the U.S., 350 million around. We're not talking the population of California when you're looking at, 20 million, 30 million. Not talking about New York, the city of New York, 6 million. You're not talking about the state of Florida. You're talking about a community. titled Somalian, who essentially have been provided green card citizenship. They've been provided what is known as temporary status, and they have a temporary citizenship status centered around fleeing from a region of the world that is very hostile toward them, and they thought they would find refuge inside of the United States. And how that small group of people, it would have been cheaper to pay all the Somalians involved in that controversy. I think the number I really need to nail down is how many Somalians are they suggesting were involved in this scandal? And from what I heard and a little bit of research on it, daycares don't have tens of thousands of people.
Yeah.
So I don't even, it's the numbers that aren't adding up to me. If it's Somalians, a community, I'm saying that's small. But if it's Somalian daycares, that's an even smaller number because children are totally different than adults. Those scandals, I mean, the numbers don't add up, and there's no way to reconcile daycare numbers with billions of dollars, let alone millions of dollars. So there's a lot that needs to be unpacked there, and there is something that needs to be investigated. Something is there. I don't know what. Something is there because I don't know how you can spend that much money on daycares, but there is a scandal there. But we need to know how many Somalians actually are even living in Minnesota.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that now that's a whole.
So my crack staff would have been on that, but I think they crack staff and my crack staff. I just cracked the Kraken, and so anytime I make those statements, they supposed to be what that was the cue. Glory be to His holy name. So they're on it now. They're on it now, but they're going to let us know. That way we can parse these numbers because there is something there. Because even though it's not, from what I've read so far, it's not directly linked to Tim Waltz. It's actually something that's on Tim Waltz's watch. It's a little different.
Yeah.
They're not linking him to the scandal. They're linking him to not having the proper oversight or having the right agencies look into it soon enough. But from what I've read so far, none of these potentially billions of dollars of misallocations for the services that could have potentially been rendered that were not funneled to Tim Waltz or Tim Waltz's family or to a shell company. Question then, where did the billions of these tax dollars go? Who was the beneficiary of this money? And where is this money now? We know what's been going on for his term, which is 2, and he's seeking a 3rd term. So we just need to know some harder numbers as far as how many Somalians were even in that community, and then how many total number of daycares are actually impacted by this, and then we can suss this out ourselves. But Waltz himself, he only had the oversight. But right now, nothing is linked to going to him. And this has been in the circle of conspiracy theories for some time. And it is during the first year of the Trump administration that he actually used this as a backdrop to go into Somalia and look deeper, because there were already federal investigators on site investigating the Somalians. And again, they only received temporary status. And he has since, President Trump, revoked their visas and their temporary status for even being in the country.
Wow. So I'm looking on here in late 2025 and early 2026, there was about 80,000 to 100,000 plus Somalis in Minnesota.
So 80,000 Somalians.
Yeah, 80 to over 100,000. All of them could
Over 100,000. Let's start 80 to 100,000. So let's parse that in the middle. Let's just do 90,000.
Okay.
90,000.
That's a whole lot of juice boxes though.
So if we gave all those Somalians $90,000 apiece, that would still if we gave them all $90,000 apiece, that's about a little more than $8 million.
Yeah.
So I don't know. 90. I'm sorry. My decimals were 8 billion. So if they paid them all $90,000 apiece, that would be $8 billion. And I just don't know. I don't know how that works. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And apparently it was a federal block grant program. And the block grant program was created by Congress. And it was funded. And it was to help low-income working parents for their child care. So I do understand now why there's so much concern. You're looking at 80 to 90,000 people, and you're looking between millions and billions of dollars of unallocated funds. And when we're saying 90,000, like I said before, not all of those 90,000 are children. So that number would be even smaller. But since the federal government allocated those funds for daycare, now they need to know where the money went. So that money was supposed to cover payroll, rent and utilities, food, supplies, safety equipment. All of those were for the Missouri centers. 40 to 7% of their revenue came from the federal reimbursement. So a lot of that money that is being misallocated actually came from those residents of Minnesota. So this isn't just me and you who live where we live in the state of Ohio. We were defrauded. The people who live in Minnesota, they too were defrauded because portion of their tax dollars went there, and they need to know where the money is. And maybe there's an explanation. I don't know. But someone knows where the money is. I don't know who, but somebody knows where this money is. And that's where the controversy of even going into Minnesota began. It started with federal agencies already being there investigating. And then the Trump administration saw an opportunity to seize upon already having a presence there, already knowing that they have an immigration issue, because Somalians, again, are immigrants here legally, now here illegally, because a lot of their citizenship status has been revoked by the president. That was a window or door to now access that city. And then when you find residents there who meet the criteria of not being present in the company with legal status to be on the United States soil, and then the agents meet resistance from the community for whatever reason, well, the resistance is why you now have to add more agents to that area, not only to collect, but more importantly, to protect the agents that are already in that city. But it started with this fraud and the daycare that allowed them access to go into the area. Once they got into the area, they have not found the fraud they were looking for in the daycare, but they have found people who are not supposed to be in the country. They did not go through the due processes necessary, and they are now trying to remove them. But in doing that, they sent what I'm going to call, they're called ICE. I'm going to call them the Trump militia. They sent the Trump militia, and we'll give you the definition of militia, of what a militia is, and I'll let you decide yourself what a militia is. But they sent the Trump militia because it started with ICE agents. But once they saw resistance, they then sent the second wave. Well, anytime you ramp up, that's the actual militia. And since they have a militia there who are under federal protections, and they have, it's limited, but it's still there, they have federal immunity status, they are now able to operate under a different umbrella. And that's what we see going on in that good state. We see there were ICE agents to begin. Then they ramped up with Trump's militia. And, we need to watch out for Trump's militia because they're modeling this. And I don't want to sound like this, but I am a true prophet. And Pastor J. will agree. I told you that Stephen Miller, who is a Jew, took a page from Hitler. I told you this last year.
Yeah.
This was last year. And they were asking them for IDs. They were yanking them out of cars. They're the exact same. This is the same. And now that he has a militia and he has what I'm going to call in legal terms precedent on how they operate, and now we know what the American people will tolerate. I know there's a little bit of uprising. It's significant, but enough people are not upset. And later we'll talk about some things that me and you discussed that people should have been significantly more upset. Now the Trump militia is in the city. First it was ICE. Now it's Trump militia. They've actually took the life. They took the life of more than 2 United States citizens. But the target was criminals who were here illegally. But they've actually taken 2 that we know about, significantly more that we don't know about. There was an ICE agent who was off duty who shot a black man because he was firing fireworks. But they haven't talked about that one yet, but it'll come out. Shot 2 on the street. There were not riots on the street. The Trump administration said that you are not allowed in America to legally carry a gun to a protest. They said that's not what you do. His Treasury Secretary said he would bring a sign to a protest and that guns have no place at protests. Now, the Second Amendment says them a little differently. That's why I'm calling them a Trump militia, because it wasn't until after this second known killing that the United States government, president, Treasury official, DOJ official said, you are not allowed in America to bring guns outside to any protest. That's what they said. They said that. I didn't say that. They said that in America. They said that you're not allowed. They are uniforming that they should not have brought guns to the protest. That's why they are a militia, because they now have their own government. The United States government says if you have a concealed carry permit, according to the Constitution, you can carry that gun anywhere where it's legal.
Right.
That is only in the United States. With Trump's militia, you're not allowed to carry a licensed firearm registered to you, approved at any location where their militia is. Now, where ICE was, you could, but Trump's militia, once Trump militia is around, you're not allowed to handle a gun. According to the Second Amendment, you are allowed to carry a gun. But that's the Second Amendment for the United States. That's not Trump administration and Trump militia. They're saying no. They're saying no.
Well, there are several states that, according by the definition of militia, there are several states that still have active militias.
That's
but
correct.
They're talking, but they list them as something else. Like the Mississippi State Guard is considered a militia.
Yeah, no, it is. So Trump has his own militia now. That's my point.
So are you saying that and ladies and gentlemen, if you have comments, if you type those in the comment box, then Bishop and I, most likely Bishop can answer your question. Or one of the two of us. But make sure your questions are appropriate and just say hello to us. So are we implying that that the federal government's appointments of the ICE agents is like forming a separate militia? Because
that is correct.
Who do they get their orders from?
So they get their orders from. They have a new head now because they took the old one down.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yes, they got a new head because he literally was a general over the militia, and he had his troops behaving like a general and troops would behave. So there are certain protocols that you have with ICE, and I'm saying ICE is a legally established, Congress-funded organization. An ICE officer is not allowed to stand in front of a vehicle. I'm just letting you know that. An ICE officer is not. According to his rules and according to his regulations, he's not allowed to stand in front of a vehicle. He's not. Police officers, I tell you, don't stand in frront of a vehicle. You never.
Well,
that's why you have
common sense to tell you don't stand in front of a vehicle.
No. Okay. This isn't common. If you're in a militia, right? So this is a militia. If you're in a militia, then you have totally different rules. You are allowed in a militia to shoot people who are armed but are not a threat, are subdued and covered. You on camera, you can shoot and kill them. The proof that this is a Trump militia is that the state police are not even allowed to investigate. They have been taking their authority to investigate. The state police. See, in America, you have a separation between church and state. You have a separation between the federal government and the local government. There's a separation. But in Trump's militia, there is no separation. States' rights don't exist in Trump's militia. There are no states' rights. It doesn't exist. But under the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, states' rights are huge. It does exist. But that's only under the Constitution. With Trump's militia, there are no states' rights, which is why the federal government is not working with the state, because Trump now has his militia. He now has his force, and they are able to operate under the parameters and guidelines that they have set out. They're standing in front of vehicles. How in the world? There are no soldiers that are on the battlefield, and I do believe I'm talking to a soldier. I do believe I'm talking to one.
Yeah,
I believe you said the Almighty, he spared you, but you my dad, Almighty's protecting him in the bosom of Abraham, but once a Marine, always a Marine. I mean, I don't know. Come on, man. I don't know what day went by. So you still a soldier. You're just inactive. But I guarantee you, if somebody want to activate that soldier in you, I bet he's still there. I bet he ain't going nowhere. So,
no, he ain't gone.
No, he ain't going. He can't go because you're a soldier. So now that this militia is going, and Trump's militia, what soldier on the battlefield holds his firearm and a cell phone?
No, we don't. No, we didn't do that.
I didn't think they ever taught you in basic training to hold your weapon and a cell phone. I didn't know that was a part of the itinerary because you were in the United States government's army. But when you're in a militia, you can hold a firearm and a cell phone simultaneously while standing in front of a vehicle trying to give commands. See, a police officer would never be allowed to hold his firearm and a cell phone. Under no circumstances could you do that. And you are trained not to do that. But in a militia, just like Al-Qaeda, you are trained by untrained individuals, and you're giving orders to send a message of a greater narrative, and that narrative and that message is fear. So in Trump's militia, they killed this poor woman, and then they killed this poor man who, according to the United States Constitution, had every right, Second Amendment, had every right to carry a gun, even at a protest. He had a concealed carry, so he didn't have to disclose that to anyone. There's nowhere in writing when you receive your firearms that you have to disclose a concealed carry. You disclose that to a police officer at a traffic stop. Other than that, if you are a concealed carry, you do not just disclose that you are a concealed carry. And there's nowhere that says it, to my knowledge, that you disclose that you are a concealed carry to an ICE agent. Now, Trump militia didn't care. They just took him out what looked to be like an execution because the person who shot at him was actually walking backwards and was away from him when he shot. And this is why I'm saying it's a militia. He took the shots, and there were still agents on top of the man.
Yeah.
They were still on top of him. And this man firing. He didn't care if he hit the other. He didn't care. But that's what you do when you are militia and you are untrained. Trump has an untrained militia. He has an untrained, unpolished militia. But now he has a new general going to polish them up. This was a test. And I'm letting you know it passed with flying colors because Trump was allowed to say, as a Republican president, and I've not heard a peep from the NRA, not one word from the NRA, that this man who had a concealed carry, come out later, he was a member of the NRA, it'll come out. They're not defending one of their members. He actually, former veteran, he fought, he knows how to handle guns. He didn't even pull his gun out. They pulled it out for him.
Yeah,
Once they said gun, they took it from him. Once they said gun, shot him. What looked to be like an execution. The person who fired the gun was walking away. But this is what a militia looks like on the streets. They won because every last American who understands the Constitution was not standing in the streets. That's what you call a trial balloon. They floated it up with great success. There's a little bit of ruckus in Minnesota, but not a lot. Not enough to deter this militia from going and start implementing phase 2.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you just tuned in, we're talking about the incidents in Minnesota. We started off talking about the educational scandal by the Somalis, and it kind of bled over into the ICE agents rounding up people. But I think this kind of sparked everything. If you have questions or you have statements you'd like to make, go ahead and put those in the chat box, and I will see them, and we'll try to get a response to you as quickly as possible. I think this is a very dangerous time that we're living in. But what I want to recommend to people, that if you believe that you have the likelihood of getting shot or beat while protesting something of that nature, it may be best to do it from afar. Stand on the street corner, hold your signs up. Don't get in front of these guys, because we see when I was in the military, we used to call them Ricky Rangers because they was real quick to shoot. Don't get in front of Ricky Ranger, man, because you're probably going to end up getting shot, tased, slammed to the ground, and some type of violation done on you. That's my recommendation.
Don Lemon just today was arrested.
Yeah,
he didn't have a gun. He didn't have a gun. And all he was doing, Don Lemon is a part of what they call the Fourth Estate. He was exercising his constitutional First Amendment right, freedom of speech. He is the Fourth Estate documenting the freedom of the press, the Fourth Estate. He took your advice. He wasn't standing in front of Ranger Rick. He wasn't standing in front of somebody with a quick trigger. All he had was a mic in his hand, documenting a protest that was active in the church. And he's now locked up.
Yeah.
I've already said phase one was to create a militia and see if people will get outraged. Phase two, they've already had the federal FBI seize records from another journalist. They've now imprisoned a journalist. This is floating trial balloon for phase two of what is about to happen. People really need to take their time and wake up. We're going to talk about that final phase three towards the end, but I'm telling this is coming. It's right in front of us. They shot this innocent, and both people who were shot were white. White people are not upset that people that look like them are getting shot. That's a trial balloon. He's a veteran. Veterans did not flood the street. That's a trial balloon. Shot in the open, execution style. That's a trial balloon. No outrage. Now they're going after the free press, the Fourth Estate. This is all of this was the former United States of America. They're not just reshaping the Constitution. They are literally, while we are live and watching, rewriting what America is about to become. And since enough people have not stood up, cried out, they're going to continue to implement phase by phase. They are arresting journalists for being journalists, covering their protests in the church, and now has federal charges. You have the Fed chair who did not acquiesce to the president, and he now has a Department of Justice investigation into his spending habits. These are all trial balloons. Something bigger is coming, much bigger than what we see now.
So, yeah, I agree that there's freedom of press and that people have a right to protest, but they had no business going inside that church protesting anything while them people were worshiping. That should not have happened. And Don Lemon is an independent journalist. He was fired from CNN. So he's an independent journalist hosting his own YouTube show called The Don Lemon Show after being let go from CNN in 2023. He should have used better judgment not to go inside that church while those people was in worship, just to expose the pastor because he supports ICE.
He was actually invited to the church, and the ICE pastor sat down and talked with him. So he wasn't with the rest of the protesters. They arrested him illegally. He said on tape, "I am not with the protesters. I am a journalist covering this story." That's what he said.
Yeah. So I mean,
now,
it makes difference.
No. But I'm saying he talked to the pastor on camera.
Yeah.
Talked to the pastor. He talked to several parishioners on camera. And they were saying, we just come to worship Jesus. We did not come for this, and they didn't want that. So me and you on the same page, we agree. I'm just letting you know, Don Lemon did not join in with the protest. He was not there with the protest. He wasn't even invited there by the protesters. He was there as you stated, an independent journalist. But now they have found a statute since the protests went inside of a church. Now it is a hate crime. It can be charged federally. They're going to charge him. But this is a trial balloon to make sure that anybody who tries to stalk will be silenced. Anyone with a voice will be silenced. That is the trial balloon. And the fact that other media outlets are not as outraged means they can go on to the next phase of the plan. Anytime they send up a trial balloon and there is not outrage, then they know that's what they can do. They are literally testing the structural integrity of not the Constitution, because it's just a piece of paper. They are testing the structural integrity of the citizens. Where is the boiling point? When would they care?
So Don Lemon and others were charged with, I'm looking at this now, conspiracy against rights of religious freedom and an attempt to injure while exercising religious freedom. So that's what he was charged with, violating the Religious Freedom Act.
So he did not injure anyone. He did not raise his voice. And again, he was invited in. He was to speak with the congregation members and to speak with the pastor. That's an invite. But since he was present, they were going to charge him. This is the second time they tried to charge Don Lemon. They've been, it's not Don Lemon. The administration already said it's about retribution. It's not about retribution. It's about testing the American citizens. What are they willing to take before we go in and implement our final phase? These are phase implementations, strategically done. And when this painting is finished, the America that we knew in 2024 will not exist. They're doing more than treading and shredding. They are literally resculpting the Michelangelo angel. Literally taking that angel and resculpting it to be something completely other than what it was. So, only thing we really have to comparison, and I took a little bit of time to look this up, because ICE is a new term, but immigration enforcement is not new.
Right.
And Obama was called the deporter in chief. But back in the 90s, when Bill Clinton was over, he was over the Immigration and Naturalization Service. The biggest difference there is that, one, they stayed on a border. I don't know if you know this, and I know everybody's not good with geography. I understand. I get it. But Minnesota, unless I'm not saying I got an A in geography, but the last I checked, Minnesota is not on our border.
Well, I mean,
no. I don't know. I thought Nevada bordered. Last Texas, I thought that bordered. Parts of Michigan and Canada, New York, borders. So Minnesota, I'm just Minnesota, ICE or INS were they're called border agents. Border agents. I'm not saying they didn't go inside of the United States, but if they went inside of the United States, they had United States Marshals. But this is a militia, Trump's militia. It's not just United States Marshal. This is Trump's militia. They're no longer on the border, but the context is Bill Clinton, he had INS. And INS did not, under Bill Clinton's administration, have any authority to arrest citizens. Could not, or non-citizens. What they could do is deport. What they could not do, they had no authority to arrest, and this was a border agent in the 90s, had no authority to arrest citizens or to arrest anyone who was inside of the United States and not on the border. There was no policy permitting them, INS, to somehow arrest people on the street based on their dialect or the color of their skin. There were no mistaken detentions with INS. It didn't happen. This militia is not operating under the traditions of what has been established precedent for what we know as border agents. This militia is taking cues from a totally different conductor. This group is reading a completely different playbook. But these are all trial balloons. But when you compare them to INS, totally different. Totally different.
I want to be nitpicky right now.
Yes, sir.
Because you know that's how Jay Will is.
That's how you do.
So, what is the definition? Do they really specify what border they're talking about? Because we live on.
No, yes,
I live.
yes,
I live on the border of Kentucky.
That's correct.
So, if it's a border patrol, couldn't they go to any border across the United States?
No.
Specifically say the border from Texas to Mexico.
Yes, no. Border agents historically, my craft staff, they're about to get on that. Border agents, traditional. Like I say, I'm only going on. I'm not talking about Trump militia. We're talking about traditional border agents, INS. Their jurisdiction literally were the borders. I can tell you this. Are they doing this on the Canadian border? He don't even like the Canadian prime minister. But are they rocking with those Canadian Mounties like that?
Yeah, but you can't even get across into Canada without going through a checkpoint.
But I'm saying those ICE agents, they ain't nowhere up there where the Mounties are. I can assure you. The Canadian Mounties, they doing all this talking. Ain't none of them messing with them Canadian Mounties up there.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, ICE agents, whatever. But I'm saying that they're dealing with people coming from countries where they know they don't even have a militia or a military. They don't have that. So they can treat them like this. But to your point, a border agent, by definition, was someone who managed and protected any of the states that bordered other countries. That's what the border agents did. They managed and they policed all of those states that border. So one of the things that the Florida Coast Guard does as border agents are down there, those agents specifically are looking for all countries that are south of Florida who try to migrate up. But that's exactly what the National Guard does.
The Coast Guard?
Yes, the Coast Guard. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So the birth of, I'm looking at this now, and the birth of ICE started in like 2003. So it's relatively new.
Yes.
I mean, well, I say it's new. It's not really new. It's 2003. It's been around a long time. But it has like more than 20,000 law enforcement agents that support ICE, and with a budget of approximately $8 billion.
No, they had that. It's over $70 billion now.
Oh, is that right?
That under the big beautiful bill. Yeah, they got 70 billion.
It was beautiful. The big beautiful bill. I tell you, the big beautiful bill.
That is the big beautiful. That's what he said. I say, hey,
don't fire me, Bishop. But he said,
no, I ain't firing you.
We have the big beautiful bill. We got.
That's what they said. Listen, that's what he said, man. It's hilarious. It is hilarious. So that is what he said.
So with $70 billion now?
Yes. Allocated for Border Patrol agents. Yes.
Man.
So like you say, it started in 2003, and they're saying that they have within their jurisdiction 100 air miles, and that's primarily for those states that are bordering other countries. That's why border agents were created. Now, we've always heard, I have a lot of family in California, and Jim Carrey actually made a movie about being on one of those help crews, and ICE came in to raid while he was trying to get a job, and they was all hunting him. So that's common in America. ICE raids, things of that nature, a little more inland than that. But it was very rare that they had what they call the dragnet approach. But now the gentleman who's heading the agency, he says he wants a targeted approach. And he doesn't want this military approach. But still, an American citizen is not, it wasn't before in America. It was not legal for anyone working for the federal government before Trump's militia to shoot another American citizen who has a concealed carry permit and is at a protest. So they just forgot all about them storming the Capitol in January before Biden's inauguration and how they all had guns at their protests. They're forgetting during Trump's first administration when in Virginia, the Nazis marched on campus saying the Jews will not replace us. They all had guns. They're forgetting that Kyle Rittenhouse went during the riots and brought his gun and shot people with the gun.
Yeah.
Like killed people, unfortunately, with the gun at a protest. These are the same people who are now saying, put away your guns. You're not allowed to own a gun in America. That's what they're telling you now. You're not allowed to own a gun in America because if you own a gun, you cannot take it with you to your protest. Well, what's the purpose of a concealed carry if I can't take it and conceal it everywhere I go? This is different. It's different in America.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but all I can tell them is good luck. Because they are never going to be able to remove all the weapons from the people who own them. It just ain't going to happen.
How about this? Trump militia, he's already shot 2 innocent people. The death toll will simply rise. Trump militia is coming for your guns. Trump said he had no business having a gun at a peaceful protest. That's what he said. He's coming. Trump's militia is coming for your guns. So all y'all gun owners, you were not upset. You say, oh, this is isolated. One event. They're not coming for me. That's the trial balloon. They're coming for the guns because they told you that you have no business. They're now telling you what you can do with your gun. If the President of the United States and the Department of Justice, who actually charges people with crimes, if they're saying don't bring guns to any protest, forget it if it's legal. They said don't bring them. How is that not coming for your guns? So I don't know how it's not.
I will say that I think it's a lot more dangerous for a bunch of angry people to have weapons at a protest. And so,
Man, listen,
my
I saw January 6th. They trying to erase that January 6th from my brain, but I saw it, man. They all had guns.
I'm not disagreeing with that. But what I'm saying is, I can see where a bunch of angry people protesting, having a whole bunch of weapons, can turn into a potential bloodbath in a heartbeat.
Okay, you lived through the same generation I'm living through.
Yes, sir.
You don't remember all of these AK-47 protests where they come out with their AK-47 on their person?
Oh yeah.
You don't remember those protests?
I do. And I'm not trying to say that they shouldn't be allowed to carry their weapons. I'm just saying, if you got a whole bunch of angry people and everybody is armed.
But they were. It already happened. That AK-47 group that was carrying them out openly at protests, that's exactly what they did. They only came together for the protest. And when we're talking about protesting at a church, he didn't do it. But that preacher down south that was going to burn the Quran, he was protesting. And don't get me started. You're talking about protesting in the church. These abortion activists, abortion right people, anti-abortion, they definitely protest any and everywhere if they find out somebody got an abortion. Oh, they sure will. And then the people with the guns, man, they've been standing outside with these guns, AK-47s. Man, I know for the last 10 years, protesting openly with them. But this is what I can tell you. You ain't seen none since Trump done developed this militia. And this is what I can tell you. They won't be protesting no more. Where are all of the AK-47 gun owners who kept saying Obama was going to take your guns and he ain't taking nothing? They said Obama was going to take your guns. Nothing. He was going to implement some act that Trump's actually what's that act? I don't even know that. I don't know the name of the act. Insurrection Act. Thank you. The Insurrection Act. Trump's already implemented the Insurrection Act, but they said Obama was going to do it so he can stay in power and take their guns. Well, Trump has done it, and I already told you. He now has a militia. They're coming after your guns. Let the AK-47 crowd that stands out and protests with their guns do that now in an ICE raid. Do that now and see what happens to you.
Yeah.
See what the militia do to you.
I'm not saying that the First Amendment rights or the gun laws and stuff should be geared towards taking the weapons away from people. I don't think that there's enough law enforcement to retrieve all the weapons from all the people that have them.
Oh, no, just like they self-deport, just like they ask people to self-deport, they're going to ask you to just hand them in.
It'll never happen.
Bye-bye. Okay, you keep saying that. You get to see that. I told you that soldier was never dead. I told you he ain't died. Don't worry about it. Trump militia got something for that. The militia coming. The militia is coming.
But they have no reason. They're not going to do that.
Okay.
Unless they're going to change the Constitution.
I've already told you the Constitution of the United States gone, man. Supreme Court's gone. Oh, that is gone. They told you not to carry a gun. How can you say the Constitution of the United States is not gone? Second Amendment says you can carry a gun, but this group is telling you the people who charge you with a crime, which is the Department of Justice, a federal crime, the Department of Justice, they will charge you with a crime. They told you, their head told you, you have no right to bring a gun at a rally. I'm just saying what she said.
Right. And what I'm saying is, if you have a whole bunch of angry people at a rally, and they're all carrying weapons, it can end up a bloodbath. So is it the wisest thing for everybody that's already angry and they want some heads to roll anyway, Is it really
In a
wise for them to
in
carry
a
their weapons?
former America, it didn't have to be wise. It just had to be a right.
Yeah.
Now we done put wisdom on it. It
Yeah.
wasn't about wise. It was just a right. If you got a right to do it, you can do it. And I'm telling you, your right has been stripped. They're floating up more trial balloons. Started with killing innocent citizens. Now they're jailing journalists. And they're going to come for your money next. That's what's next. It's your money. And then it is your life. They're coming for it. But if you got a gun, the government told you, you can't do what you want to do with it. You got to do what we tell you to do with it. And eventually they're going to tell you, hand them guns over.
Yeah, that'll never happen.
Okay, never happened. Okay, you say that now, but you wait till that militia come knocking on your door. You wait till that militia come knocking on your door.
Let them knock.
Oh, yeah. They coming.
Let them
They
knock.
coming. They coming for all of us. So just like birthright citizenship, a lot of people just don't understand. Anybody who was brought into this country through slavery, the reason why you are a citizen is because of birthright citizenship. Anybody that was brought over here with slavery, that wasn't a part of that original group, shipped over here, man, you're a citizen because of birthrights. That's what that is. You continue to strip that down, everybody's going to be illegal alien. Everybody's going to be illegal. And nobody's going to have protection status. Nobody. Not even Clarence Thomas. I mean, that's just how single-minded he really is. Just simple. He won't even have protections. And he's on the Supreme Court. And they'll easily take him off before death. Birthright citizenship. Once it continues to be stripped, these are all trial balloons. They are going to be able to go after, in the same manner that they're going after illegals now, with the Trump militia, they're going to go after them. They are funding them to build them up for something. This is not conspiracy. These are just facts. They're going to get more. It's going to be us against them. It's going to be your neighbors against one another, which is what the Civil War was all about. That South still ain't never died, and it never will die, and they still have not yielded, and it's going to continue to rise, and it's not going to get better, but it's going to get worse. These are trial balloons. Mark my words, it's going to get worse. There's no choice. But between now and the next time and this year and before the end of this presidency, let's see how many AK-47 rallies there are when there are not ICE agents, Trump militia in the city. They can do it around an ICE agent. You better not do it around one of them Trump militia cats. It ain't going to work.
But, I mean, from what you explained, they're all one and the same.
No. So ICE is still patrolling the border. Trump militia are literally patrolling and killing American citizens. So they are rounding up as many as American citizens as they are, quote, non-papered residents. And the Supreme Court has said it is only a minor inconvenience if they stop you. That's a militia, man. They have the Department of Justice on their side. They have the Supreme Court on their side. And they have a commander-in-chief who now has his own militia, takes marching orders from him and Steve Miller. Steve Miller has his blueprint ripped directly from the Nazis. He's following line for line, page for page, action for action, literally killing on the streets. Before, at least in Germany, they didn't have no cameras. They kill him with cameras telling you that the man is a terrorist that just got shot and that he was attacking Trump's militia. ICE agents are on the border, still patrolling the border. Trump militia, they're 100 miles in, doing exactly what they're supposed to do, terrorizing, and terrorizing. It's going to get uglier.
Well, I mean, it's going to get uglier, and I don't know if there's any way around it.
Oh, no, we got three. Well, we might have 3 more years of it because it's going to get worse. At first I thought maybe he was going to leave, but with this militia and how they're behaving, I really don't know. I don't know. I know I'm going to be covered because no matter what, I'm going to the kingdom. But at least those who are down here who are going to remain in the shenanigans, at least you need to know why it's going down and how in plain sight this happened and you didn't do anything about it. I'm not saying you, I'm not saying me, but I'm saying as a country, we're not standing up. Christ said it best. You have no power except my Father in heaven give you power. These people don't have no power. We're giving power over to them, handing it over to them, allowing them to openly take not just the rights of the people that they killed, but people who are alive. You no longer have a right. And Trump militia is going to continue. So just to let you know, Trump, he appointed somebody new. And he said there's going to be a drawdown in agents that are in Minnesota. Trump has just recently said, no, there's not going to be a drawdown. Why would he draw down his militia? They are making a salient point, and they are making progress because nothing is happening. He's still the president, and the world's still turning, and these people are out there killing American citizens. ICE is not allowed to detain American citizens. INS was not allowed to detain American citizens. Trump's militia are detaining American citizens because they are allowed, because they do not fall under the umbrella of what me and you would call the Constitution of the United States. They are literally constituting a country within a country with all of our eyes wide open. And they are not at all doing this in secret. It's in front of our very eyes, and we have not, as a country, done anything remotely to stop it. Nor do I think we will, but it's going to get worse. I'm saying what they do to continue to make their country in the middle of a country, it's just going to get progressively worse. It has to.
I mean, how can you stop it?
So, no. It's too late for that now. The only way.
I mean, even in the beginning, how could you stop it? I mean, it's
no. Okay, war. You stop. No. You stop him by not letting him in. So the way you stop cancer is by not getting cancer. That's how you stop it. You don't let it in. So you can't let it in. So that's why the Almighty kicked the adversary out and never letting him in again. He's never getting in again. So once you get all that element out, you can't let it in. But when we look at, how do we get this out? Well, we should have never let this guy in office. He is doing exactly what felons do. Commit crimes in broad daylight. That's exactly what, because they're a felon. He's behaving like a felon, but he's a presidential felon. I apologize. He's a presidential felon, but he's still behaving like one. So the elections that we would have, we might have a shot. But, oh, wait a minute. He just went and sent and got a judge to sign an order to secure ballots in an election that was, well, he never conceded. So he actually has standing because he never did concede to Joe Biden that he lost that election. So I guess he has standing there. They just went and took voting information from Georgia. Another trial balloon to ensure that you never lose power. If you can control the votes and take the votes, remember I told you there was such thing as a state right and federal right, but in Trump's militia, they do whatever they want to do. If Trump is able to successfully take states' rights and bring it to the federal and control state voting rolls from a federal seat, come on, man, that's not checkmate, but that's another check on that box of literally rewriting America while all Americans are in America. So what could we have done? We could have given the opposing party a 2/3 majority in the Senate and a 2/3 majority in the House. That is the only way to get him out at this point before complete implementation. If that does not occur at this next cycle, he will continue to rewrite what America looks like in broad daylight while we are here and we can't do anything. So let's touch on that thing. And I've been teasing this, and me and you talked about it briefly. But I want to let you know that it started with the daycare just to get ICE in there. But once he got ICE in there, he ramped up to his militia. Now the Trump estate is suing the IRS and the Treasury Department for roughly $10 billion. Now, this is going to go to court. He is the president of the United States. And in the United States, there's something called the spoils system. I don't know how much longer. Well, I think that's going to stay because you like that. In the spoils system of government, you're able to appoint chairs over all of the government agencies. The IRS and the Treasury falls underneath one of the agencies that the president is able to appoint a chair. So the person he's suing, which is the IRS, Trump appointed the chairman over that agency. Mm-hmm. The Treasury Department is a good friend of Donald Trump. Trump appointed him over the Treasury. Trump's estate is suing those two agencies for $10 billion because a contractor who didn't even work for the IRS, but was a subcontractor who released Trump's tax information. The department that would adjudicate that against Trump's estate is the Department of Justice, which is another government agency that falls under the Trump administration. And the head of the Department of Justice was actually appointed by Donald Trump. So Donald Trump, only in theory, could tell the head of the Department of Justice to settle the case against the country who is literally paying for his salary to give him $10 billion. And the head of the Department of Justice, who would appoint a lawyer to adjudicate that, would settle it. And if it went to this Supreme Court, they'd approve it, I assure you. Trump's about to get, this is extortion at the height. These are trial balloons. The fact that every 50 state, even the 51st state being Canada, the 52nd state being Venezuela, the fact that all 52 states, I'm sorry, the 53rd state being Greenland, 53rd being Greenland, the fact that all 53 states are not on fire, that he's literally suing himself for $10 billion, and the people who are in charge, who will be in charge to adjudicate and decide the verdict, all work for him. And yes, I'm saying the current Supreme Court, as it is currently constructed, work for Donald Trump. I know they don't care about what I'm saying, but I'm telling them they work for Donald Trump. Donald Trump is suing literally himself, and every government agency that is overseeing this $10 billion suit from his estate works for him. And all he has to do, and remember the current federal chair? You remember him? He's about to leave shortly. They just appointed a new one, Kevin. And one is about to leave. The current Fed chair did not do what Trump asked, and he now has an investigation from who? The Department of Justice, which is the same Department of Justice that now has to appoint a lawyer to handle the suit that Donald Trump brought against the IRS and the Treasury Department. And the fact that America is not on fire and the Congress and the House of Representatives are not literally on fire with this information is another trial balloon letting you know the America that we knew is gone.
Yeah, it's kind of a conflict of interest there. But you know, his
you think that's a conflict? You think?
Yes, sir. His sons are involved in this lawsuit too.
That's his estate.
Eric and Donald Jr.
Yes. That's his estate.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy stuff.
But nobody's hair is on fire. Shooting American citizens, hair's not on fire. Saying you're not allowed to carry your guns where you want, hair's not on fire. Creating your own personal militia, hair not on fire. Literally about to extort our tax money, $10 billion, hair not on fire. He's right. He can stand and shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and wouldn't lose one supporter. He's right. He's just right. And the fact that nobody is, I don't know. At this point, the man went and took a head of state, literally a head of state.
He did that.
Out his bed, took the head of state's wife, hit her in her eye, brought them from their state, from a sovereign, bordered, recognized country to the United States in handcuffs.
That's gangster.
And no, there has been, again, the whole world here didn't catch up on fire. So, I mean, at this point, there is nothing that he can't do. And there's nothing that he can't do without that militia. The only restraints on this administration now is the Almighty himself. And what the Almighty will permit. And that's it.
Let me poke the bear here, Bishop. Because it looks bad for him to go to Venezuela and take the president and his wife. But didn't it look just as bad for us to be searching for Saddam Hussein and, you know, bin Laden? We did the same thing to those guys.
Well, yes, without question. We went with the no, we did not have the permission of India because India said they didn't have them. Afghanistan said they didn't have them. He was actually in Afghanistan, but they said they didn't have them. That's exactly what Barack Obama did. Now, the only difference between the two is that bin Laden was not the head of state. The head of state has a unique characterization difference than every other citizen. So we're not in that club, but there's a president's club. And normally, unless you're going to take all this stuff, you don't go and capture head of state. So Putin is a known war criminal. Yeah. But nobody is busting in Russia, bringing him to justice in their state. They're not doing it. They're just not doing it. And if this was this is a brown man, and if his pigment skin was any other color, I don't know that this would have happened. But these are more brown people, and it's easy to go pluck him out. But they took this man out, a head of state, and they're saying, well, we don't recognize him as a head of state. He was a head of state. They took him, brought him to the United States with his wife with a black eye. Nothing.
Now, Saddam Hussein was considered the president of Iraq.
Now, nice try. No, he was never over Iran, but considered as being the Iraq. Oh, no, the Armenians and all. No, the Sheiks. They all in charge of that. Yeah,
he served as president of Iraq from 1979 until his overthrow in 2003.
No, so I'm saying no. When Obama killed bin Laden, he was not a head of state?
No, Saddam Hussein.
Oh no. Okay, I'm sorry. The United States government ousted Saddam Hussein, who was found inside of some pipes, and the citizens drug him out, shoved the broom up his behind, and drug his body through the city.
Yeah, but I mean, he served as president of Iraq.
No, he was.
I'm saying we've done this before. Is what I'm getting.
That was regime change. No. We ain't went nobody's bed and got no presidents.
No, that's because Saddam got out the bed and was trying to hide.
Yeah, Saddam definitely was trying to get out the bed, just like Bin Laden. You know, he tried to hide.
Yeah, I mean, Bin Laden was one of his children was born in Indianapolis.
No, I agree. Yeah. Oh, you said Bin Laden was born in Indianapolis?
No, one of his children.
Oh, yeah. No. Bush Jr. let him and his whole family fly out when all this went down. Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just tuning in, Bishop and I have covered a tremendous amount of topics. If you have any questions for us, type them in the chat box, and we'll try to answer those. And if you love coffee, go to strongcoffeecompany.com. And if you use the promo code JWell Podcast, you'll receive a 20% discount on all your products. So, Bishop, we don't cover a lot of stuff, man. Huh?
Oh, yeah.
Look, you don't make me work up an appetite. So, now, I do want to go back. Things are getting bad, but it's to be expected for things to get worse and to get worse and to get worse because sin entered the world.
Oh, that's a fact.
And you know, I can't. I listen. You know, I listen to a whole bunch of people talking all the time. And yes, this world's gonna get bad, but this world was never my home to begin with.
No, not mine and yours. No.
If it gets bad, it gets bad. But
Right.
whenever you have people with sinful natures, they do sinful things. They do things that are contrary to what the will of God has for our lives. And
That's
so
true.
it's to be expected for the ICE agents to be popping people in the middle of the street.
It's true. It's
to be
unfortunate.
It's to be expected.
It should not have happened, but yes.
Cain killed Abel.
That's true. Well, it's what people allow. Now, when it comes to Cain killing Abel, Almighty didn't allow that. He held, when Cain killed Abel, he held Cain accountable.
Oh, yeah, he did.
But nobody's holding him into accountable. Yeah.
They're going to have to give an account, whether it be good or whether it be bad, on the day of judgment. You and I may not ever see it happen in the physical realm.
Mm-hmm.
But when they meet their maker.
Oh, yeah. No, that's what my life is lived based on accountability to the Heavenly Father.
Yes, sir.
And I'm so thankful for the blood of Jesus that cleanses me and it keeps me centered, helps me to walk a path that allows me to navigate this world in such a way that even though there's harm all around me, none will attach itself to me because I believe that I'm afforded protections and I got rights, which is why I am not overly concerned, but I am concerned about the direction of what the end is going to actually look like for others and how they are completely oblivious to what is going on. And the fact that the several things that we talked about, the fact that there's a militia running the streets, the fact that they can kill at random, they can jail journalists, invade their homes. Supreme Court says it's okay if you detain an American citizen just to ask them a question without any provocation, without any due process. Just ask them. Supreme Court said that's fine. It's a minor inconvenience. And then for the President of the United States to be over the Treasury and then sue the Treasury. For those who don't know what the Treasury does, they actually print the money, literally. That's what they do. They print the money. He's suing the money that's printed. This man is taking heads of stage from the bed. And the fact that there is not a complete and total uproar is something. It's enough that it should have been an uproar, but I guess people are just too worried about the cost of eggs, cost of gas, heating bills, trying to make ends meet, that they can't see all the other stuff that's going on around them. But there's a lot going on around them, and again, the America that they knew in 2024, it's vanishing in right in front, in broad daylight, with these people eyes wide open. That 2024 America is vanishing. It's vanishing.
Well, Bishop, I can tell you that this 2024 America was dissipating before 2024.
Not like this.
Hey,
no,
man,
not like this.
When I was in the military, the first signs that we saw was the don't ask, don't tell. That's the first signs that we saw that, hey, things are changing.
Right.
We got to pay attention to the signs and symptoms.
Right.
To learn how to flow and function with the changing of times, man.
No, I remember that, don't I? I remember when that came into, and that was a culture shock. I know that sent shockwaves through the military, but I remember when Don't Ask, Don't Tell came in.
We was furious.
Right.
We were mad. You know what I'm saying? But, from a military perspective, we talked about it, man. It was like, man, some things are changing, man. We either gonna have to totally get away from it or learn how to work around it or work with it.
Or that. Yeah, well, you're going to see it. It's all. So, freedom, how we look at freedoms, how freedoms are impacted, those are very important considerations, life-changing considerations. And
they are.
It should not be taken lightly or lightly discussed. So freedoms for everybody are important. And one of the good points about America before was that freedom was paramount and it was worth fighting for. I just don't know that the freedoms that we discussed tonight, that the American people believe is still worth fighting for, because their rights are literally being rewritten in public. And if he's able, the Trump administration, the Trump estate is able to successfully sue different government agencies, like he sued different newspapers, different law firms, different social media companies. If he's able to extort that type of, it ain't going to stop. So for the person who said, well, the media companies treated him unfairly, he's going to stop there. Well, the law firms treated him unfairly, he's going to stop there. Well, the media companies treated him unfairly, he's going to stop there. No, he's coming after your tax dollars now. So there is no stop. I'm certain after this, he's going to start suing other governments. And you already see what he tried to do with Greenland. And they said, you done went too far, man. And they told him, you know what? It was the other foreign leaders who said, the America that we knew is dead, and that our relationships will forever be different. They just denounced him trying to get Greenland. And they stood against him firmly. Trump was not kidding. He wanted it. But he's going to start suing them. There is no end to it.
It ain't going to help him. How you going to sue and get a country?
Man, I don't know what he was going to. Okay, the man said, I'm going to buy y'all. Come on, man.
No.
Come on, man. How is that? On one level, is that not insulting? Now I'm going to pay you for your services. It's like an athlete. An athlete, they pay for their services. He said, no. I'm going to buy you. I'm going, what? In
Yes,
2025. Come on, man. He's buying these people. He's literally buying the people.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Bishop, we've been at it about an hour and 25 minutes.
Oh, there we go.
So I think we're going to have to talk about this. We're going to have to talk about this again. And ladies and gentlemen, if you've been listening, go back and listen to the whole podcast. It's really pretty interesting. I'm the agitator. Bishop's the voice of reason. Because I'm going to always ask questions that that are kind of, make you think, whoa, Jay Will's got a point. But then Bishop brings me back home. If you have any questions for us right quick, hit us in the chat box. I can answer them. Don't forget to email Bishop at truthministries30@gmail.com. Truthministries30@gmail.com. To donate to Truth Ministries, you can do it via the Kroger app under Kroger Community Rewards and type in the code JX228, J Juliet X-ray 228 to donate to Truth Ministries. And you can always hit me up, leewillj, the letter J at gmail.com. Leewillj, the letter J at gmail.com. Bishop, you have anything else you want to tell the people?
We are in prayer for everyone. We're definitely in prayer for all of those families that lost their loved ones. We know there are some that have been publicized, but there are some who have not been publicized. And at no time will we making light of those lives that were lost, simply trying to highlight some of the things that are happening in our society right around us and how it is just to our advantage to not only be vigilant and prayerful, but be ready to take action and to speak up against. Christ was not scared to speak up against authority. Christ did not align himself to any particular government. He said, render unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar, but render unto God what belongs to God. And again, he told Pontius Pilate, you have no power except I give you power. And I just want everyone to know, do they really have the power, or do we really have the power? Because whoever holds the power makes the rules.
Well said. Well said. All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't wait till you get sick to go to the doctor. Get yourself checked out, A1C, blood pressure, cholesterol, all that good stuff. And get some life insurance. Don't wait. Don't leave your family strapped in case something happens to you. Life is hard, but your loved ones are going to be suffering. If you pass and don't have an insurance, if you don't know some people, I know some people that can probably hook you up with a policy. Until the next time, may the Lord God bless and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you, and may the Lord God give you peace. We'll see you around next time.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. For more information, email Bishop Hamner at truthministries30@gmail.com or email jwill at leewillj, the letter J, @gmail.com.